Hello. Dear parent, if you click the link and if you're watching this video, then I must tell you that you are a great leader for your child. And while leading, it gives you a true sense of happiness and satisfaction. Today, our young generation, our kids are facing a lot of mental and emotional issues. And these are because of these three things. Number one, is cutthroat competition. There is ruthless competition out there for be it for admissions, be it for scholarships, for internships, for placements. There is a tremendous amount of competition out there. Number two is expectations. Everybody is expecting from these kids, be it parents, teachers, neighbors, relatives, all the loved ones are expecting something from these kids. And number three is there is huge amount of data available everywhere. Everybody is providing opinions. So there are a lot of resources which are making these children confused. Parents are striving really hard for their own success. The schools are worried about the syllabus, and that is the reason why there is nobody to help the students to become something more than the challenges that this world is throwing at them. And that's the reason why we can see these common problems in almost every home. There are a lot of children, there are a lot of students who are losing interest in studies or in the subjects like mathematics, science. They are always in the negative states like boredom, anxiety, frustration. They get easily distracted. They get nervous before important events like exams, vivas, seminars, and they lack self-confidence. School teachers or tuition teachers are always going to tell you the problems. You too can see the problems, but to help our kids to solve these problems, we must first understand why they exist at the first place. In this video, we'll see why these problems exist and what are the ways to solve them.
So why do students lose interest in studies? The number one reason is less marks. There was this survey done in University of Michigan where it was found that 80% students believed that their self-worth is based on their academic performances. Now that means the majority of students believe that if they are not performing well in academics, it makes them unworthy. They can't enjoy their life, they don't deserve happiness is what they feel. Terrible, isn't it? And this is the number one reason why students are losing interest in studies. Reason number two, incompetent teachers. Now, there are very less chances that all teachers in the school are brilliant. And sometimes students have to learn from incompetent teachers who have a very boring way of teaching. The students are very young, naive, innocent to hate the teachers, and that is the reason why they start hating the subject instead. Now let me give you an example of how an incompetent teacher can cause a huge damage in student's life. Let's say there is a student who is good in maths. He regularly attends school and stays up to date, but due to health issues, he skips his school for 3 days. When he joins, the teacher while teaching asks him a question based on the syllabus that he missed. Now when the student is unable to answer, the teacher says that you are really bad at maths. The innocence in the student makes him believe the teacher, and from here the interest in mathematics starts to lose. Reason number three, learning difficulties. Do you know that we humans learn things through 5 senses? Seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, and tasting. So these are the 5 senses. Seeing is visual, hearing is auditory sense, feeling is kinesthetic, smell is olfactory, and taste is gustatory. So these are the 5 senses through which we learn things. And when it comes to a child, and if you want to learn a certain subject, you want to learn a certain topic, then he must acquire that knowledge, then he must learn that knowledge through first 3 senses, which is seeing, hearing, and feeling. The problem here is when a student is trying to study a particular topic, all he is trying to learn it through using one of the senses, like only seeing. That's the reason why he cannot grasp the concept really well. So you need to develop these 3 learning modes to make child learn faster and retain longer. Otherwise, the student is going to lose interest in studies. Reason number 4, students just forget whatever they have studied, and then after putting so many efforts, if they are forgetting the content, so obviously they start losing the interest in the subject. They try to learn things a lot, but just at the crucial time like exams, interviews, viva, seminar, they forget things partially, at times almost everything. And when they discuss this problem with teachers or parents, mostly parents and teachers tell them that they are just not concentrating well. So now let me tell you that concentration is not the real issue here. Yes, I agree that it is obvious to think that one lacks concentration if he or she cannot recall things even after repeating 10 to 20 times. But let me tell you, the same boy or girl easily recalls movie scenes, songs, or even the entire movie by just watching it once. So, what's the difference? If a student is not able to learn and recall a single paragraph, on the other hand, the same student goes to recall the entire movie, which has around 1,29,600 frames. A 90-minute movie has these many frames. So now, if a student can recall thousands of frames by simply watching once, then there is definitely no problem with concentration. Problem is the fear of unknown. We all run away from things which are not known to us. So, be it talking to a stranger or learning something which is really new, same happens with the student. If a student has to learn something and recall all that information, then it is really important for the student to associate those concepts to the things which are known. The next problem is the negative state of mind. There are hundreds of processes or thoughts that keep going on in a child's mind at any particular moment. We can also call it as mood or state. Now, these are majorly classified into two categories: unresourceful and resourceful. And the complaints are that majority of the students are in unresourceful states. Now, this is very dangerous. Why? Because the student, when they are in unresourceful states, they feel stuck. They are sad, confused, scared, frustrated, angry, depressed. They can't utilize their full potential even if they have it. If the child stays in this state for long, then it starts affecting his or her performance in studies, in health. As a parent, you need to observe your child's state closely. You can observe their way of walking, facial expressions, breathing, and tonality to check whether they are in the right state or not. If they are not, there are a lot of tools that you can use to help your child. One simple tool is to make him or her use their physiology, which is body, in a very powerful way. State of mind is completely linked with physiology, and through this you can take your child from unresourceful state to resourceful state, where he'll feel that he is in the flow, where you'll see that they are confident, joyous, lovable, they are having a playful time, they are feeling good, healthy, and it is always the resourceful state which helps them to reach their inner potential and utilize it to reach their goals. The next problem is that students get easily distracted from achieving their goals. They get distracted from their studies, they get distracted from any productive activity they are doing, and the major problem of distractions is cell phone. So what is happening here is a simple notification from a phone is taking all the focus, all the attention that they were initially having in that particular activity. According to TNS Global, students are spending approx 3 hours every day for surfing the web. Now, if they are searching for productive content, then that's really good. But if they are not, then this is really, really dangerous. Also, according to Gallup, students are spending approx 6 hours every day on socializing. Now, this together makes it 9 hours of screen time. Because of this tremendous high screen time, many students have fallen in trap of addiction. So that addiction is of gaming or watching pornographic content. This has become a headache to the parents. When your child falls in a bad habit, his or her mind fails to see long-term pains and focuses only on the short-term pleasures. And that is the reason why students keep on doing the same things. This is how our children learn the habit of smoking, consuming alcohol, chewing tobacco, or even taking drugs. So this is really, really dangerous. In the beginning, the habit gives some pleasure, but they invite pains the moment the habit turns into addiction. And it has to be stopped over there itself. Now the problem is, why do they get such kind of addiction? The sole reason, the only reason is because either the child is running away from some pain or going towards some gains. That is pleasure. So if we want to help child to get away from all these things, then it's really important for us to give them some higher purpose. Now, how to give a higher purpose to our child? It is simply by asking the child to answer to these 4 questions. So make your child sit, give him a piece of paper and ask the child to write answers, write deep answers, write as many as answers possible to these 4 questions. Now, once the child is done with writing the answers to all these questions, if the impact of answers to the question number 1 and 2 is greater to the impact of the answers to question 3rd and 4th, you'll never ever have to push your child. They will automatically be always focused. They'll never ever get distracted. The next problem is self-confidence. Students are lacking self-confidence. Self-confidence is really vital to his or her success. The amount of self-confidence a child possesses will affect every aspect of his or her educational goals. So if a child loses confidence in school, his or her grades will ultimately be affected. They may feel they are unworthy of obtaining their goals or think it is impossible to achieve them. So we really need to make sure that our children are full of confidence. Now let's talk about why students lack self-confidence. The number one reason is uninvolved parents. We humans communicate 55% through our physiology, which is body movements, 38% through our tone of voice, and just 7% through our words. So it's really important for us to use our body movements, our tone of voice, our words in a very, very positive manner to make it effective while communicating to our child. As a parent, if you think there is a lack of communication between you and your child, there must be missing one or both big factors, which is body movement or the tone of voice. So if you're not using it in the right way, the communication is never going to happen effective. As your happiness is a result of the happiness of your child, so you need to be a good communicator with your child. Once parents fail to be good communicator with their children, the children get associated with unwanted people to share their emotion. It becomes painful situation in families. The second reason for the lack of self-confidence is body image. According to the survey of University of Washington, 53% of girls were unhappy with their bodies, and by the age they reach 17, it goes to 78%. Same goes with the boys. They feel like developing large muscles as a show of strength. They also feel self-conscious about their height. Media, television, magazines are the main culprits for all of this because they are the ones who make our children believe that the success is based on body. The third reason for the lack of self-confidence is unrealistic goals. Youngsters expect way too much of themselves in terms of school achievement, extracurricular involvement, or social status. Of course, there is nothing wrong with it, but if it affects to their mind, then yes, we need to do something about it. Intelligent students think that they should be topper always. They take too many activities and expect to be the best in all of them. There are students who crave popularity and they expect that everyone should like them. The inevitable failure to meet unrealistic goal may lead to the feeling you're a failure in general. So here we really need to be cautious. Now